Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb.
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk Star Wars with this man.
Alright, well, usually we like to talk about what we've been up to this week first, so we're gonna talk about that, and then we'll get into some Star Wars news, because we do actually have some stuff to talk about this week, and then we'll talk about the main topic, which is Clone Wars Season 1. So, we'll start with you. What have you been up to this week?
Working a little bit. Talking with Chris, Sky, and Steve. I might try and do a little cyberpunk one shot for them.
Hey.
I explained to them how the damage system works, where it's yeah, getting shot isn't fun.
Generally, it's not.
It is a damage track system for how characters work, and it's once you get to a mortal blow, it's now everything is bad for you. I'm that makes sense.
Yeah.
Other thing I've been doing is going through Elden Ring. I'm at the end for the most part.
For the DLC?
Yeah. I've progressed through the main story. Earlier today, I had to fight 4 of the allies that helped me get there.
Should I put up a
Yeah, just a little spoiler.
Yeah, because the DLC is still relatively new, so we gotta be careful here, because we do have people on the show who watch the show who do play it. I know Zach's playing it as well. He's been streaming it. So for those of y'all who don't want any spoilers for the Elden Ring DLC, whenever this disappears, you're in the clear.
Yeah. So there's a couple of people. There's Dryleaf Dane. He's a little monk guy, punches and kicks things. There's Little Nope. Needle Knight Leda.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna call her Little Needle lately. That's not which is not her name. Then you've got Redmane Freya. Now, one of the things that happened is Mikola, his power, because all the demigods have great runes that give them abilities and such, right? What his does is it makes people like him.
So it's essentially, it's not exactly a love potion, but it's a love potion.
Essentially.
In terms of, it at least makes you,
Bro can cast, friendship anytime he wants.
Yeah.
And so, going through that, throughout the course of the DLC, eventually it'll break. And everyone's okay, what now? And they're Mikola's still trying to be, the big god. And I'm well, I can't have that. That's my job. So, I'm gonna fight you, but first I gotta get past everybody else who helped me get this far. Because I had to burn this stupid tree that you put in the way, Mikola. I had to kill the rest of your family to do this. I didn't even want to do this. But you tossed aside your compassion for everyone. I found that other half of you at the bottom of a pit, man. I don't care that you brought your half-brother, the strongest motherfucker in the world. I can't die until I give up. I'm gonna be a problem for you until you two go down.
Well then.
Anyhow, I'm working on that. They're pretty strong.
Is that pretty much your...
yeah,
or at least what you want to share, anyways.
Trying to think if there's anything else. Not really.
Okay, well then I will go ahead and...
Yeah.
We can remove the spoiler warning. Welcome back to those who did not want the spoiler.
Yeah. To those who didn't want that, you missed...
you missed some funny stuff, but I think at the same time you'll get to experience it yourself if you're playing it or watching other people play it.
It's both sad and funny.
So, as for me,
It saddened me, and
Yeah.
hearing ranting about it is probably funny.
yeah. So as for me, mostly work, but also making sure all the D&D games are set. Although we didn't play one last night because we weren't really feeling it. We were kind of wanting to vibe, and so we ended up vibing instead. I don't know if anybody showed up after we left because I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of figured, it's a vibe night, do whatever. Plus, I needed to. There's more prep work I need to do for the next because we're hitting the next arc, and so I want to make sure all of that's set. And then on top of that, I want to make sure everybody's there.
Yeah.
And so, because last time we played, not everybody was there, and so I wasn't able to start us on the arc because I would have started us. I would have played a little longer and been like, oh, we can start the arc, but because he wasn't there, we were like, because Chris wasn't there. Because it's going to be kind of his arc. We're going to get to learn about him without going into too much detail because the episodes are they're like months out. Like right now they're still in the, I think they're in the Blood Night, but they're not. Oh, they're just like like the second episode of the Blood Night, or will be on in a few days, because they're gonna get to the part where y'all get your guns.
I'm curious, how do you feel about like the travel sections?
I don't mind them. It's just I have to plan them, and I don't mind it because travel sections. In case y'all don't watch the Grim Hollow D&D games that we do, I make them basically roll survivals for every day because it's a grimdark setting. It's more survival horror with a little bit of eldritch, right?
You have to deal with actual problems. This isn't Faerun.
Yeah, it's not high fantasy. Whereas if you watch the Acquisitions game, it's high fantasy, and then Ravenloft is kind of in the middle. The Ravenloft games are kind of like.
I did listen in to the Ravenloft game.
Yeah, you've been listening the past couple sessions.
And so there was one moment where I'm like, man, the Boom Boys would not give a fuck about this situation. And I won't specify which one.
Is it the one from last session?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That should be going up this week.
Because I don't want to spoil that.
Or, no, not this week, but in a couple weeks. So. But sessions 1 and 2 are up, so those are live, so we can talk about those. But yeah, I know. I think I know what it is. You know what? I'll spoiler warning in case y'all care about watching our run of it, or you care about Curse of Strahd. Is it the mom-daughter situation?
No, it's the hanging.
Oh, the hanging.
Where you see like one of
you can see as yourself, yeah.
I like the idea that the Boom Boys just would not give a fuck about it.
Well, they also kind of didn't care. They were just like, oh, that's weird.
One of them's like, I'm being gaslit right now.
Yeah. Everybody else is like, I don't see it.
Yeah, they're like, this is just some rando.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited because, like, and that's going to be tomorrow that we do session 4. So, because I think, because it's sessions 3, 4, and then we do acquisitions the week next week. And by next week, I mean not the start of this upcoming week, but the week after.
Yeah.
Which works out for me because we're doing a lot of fun things for the acquisitions game. We got the art coming in. We just got a new look for Korsku.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, shout out to our favorite Fiverr artist, Asaya, aka Anastasia Vlasova. She's great. She's done so much for the acquisitions game and for the Grim Hollow game. I love her art. She's great at character design, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Really good at it, and background design too, because she designed she designed Boone and Tanachi's home. Yeah. The trees. Which I think she did really well with. But yeah, no, she just finished Korsku, and then she's basically finished with Naviel's look. I just haven't posted it in the Discord, which if you're in the Discord, you get a little bit of cool stuff if you're there. And then I don't know. I guess she's gonna work on Fayetteville next. I think 'cause she's working on the 3 of them, and then background for that, and then because this one's complicated. The poster for the upcoming acquisitions arc is complicated, which is why I have not posted. Because while we've played the first session of that arc, I haven't posted it yet because I want to make sure that poster's done, and it's gonna be awesome. There is a mock-up in the Discord, so if you're in the if you're in the Discord, you know what it's gonna be, and you can see how complicated it is and why it's so expensive, and it's gonna be a minute. I think, in fact, she just had to bump the day that's gonna be done because her internet's been I think her internet's been acting up, which might be part of the Microsoft CrowdStrike thing going on. Because, CrowdStrike went. And so it's caused a lot of Microsoft stuff as well. Because basically they were like the security system, and they run a lot of the Microsoft security. And so hundreds of millions of computers that use Microsoft, including airports and...
Are just not...
Yep. And POS systems, like at my day job. Thankfully Square works. But not the other POS that we normally use at my job, because we usually use a different POS, and then Square is like our backup, and then so we've been having to make use of Square. So, thankfully, nothing else has been. I shouldn't say that, but thankfully, nothing else in my life has been screwed over by this. But yeah, so I'm excited because. At the end of the last Ravenloft session, they made a very interesting choice. Because they had to make a choice, and they made, I wouldn't say the wrong choice, because there is no right and wrong choice, because it's D&D, but at least not in the terms of like, oh, this is the choice you're supposed to make. In terms of morally, I think it's the right choice, but also... It wasn't a moral decision either.
It's not a moral decision at all, but it can definitely influence things.
Yeah, and so them making that decision is going to affect things going forward a lot. And they're about to get to a place that a lot of people who know the Curse of Strahd game hate. Probably more than the Death House, which is what the first 2 sessions are.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
There's a couple of places.
There's a place that people really hate. And in fact, they've already met somebody that's connected to it.
Is it fucking the We Happy Few town?
No, it's not the town. It's I'm gonna put spoiler warning up again. Also, if you're one of my players, mute until this is gone.
Yep.
The Bone Grinder.
Fuck.
Because it's right on the, it's on the path.
Oh yeah, it is. Fuck.
It's on the path right to where they're going. Now they could pass it, but I'm planning for them to not pass it.
Oh, that's gonna be, even if things go really well for them, that's gonna be a knockdown drag out.
Because right now they're still only level 3s.
This is concerning.
Because I think you're supposed to be level 3 when you hit that point normally anyways.
You're supposed to be.
But even then, everybody's like, this fight is so bad.
It's because you're fighting enemies that are not level 3.
Which, thankfully, they didn't start that last session either. Because, although the book says that person only fights to defend and tries to leave the fight. Like, they are not trying to fight in that moment, usually. But, anyways. Some interesting things are coming up. More reasons to check out the Discord, because we play it there, and you can listen in. And then you're ahead of the... It's also why to check out the Patreon, because the Session 3 is already up there. Look at that. Look at us. Yeah. Look at us being good at trying to, like, get people to watch things and check things out. But no, outside of that, I've been playing some First Ascendant with you, Pixie, and Zach.
Yeah.
That's been fun.
We've got the...
Also making them watch Highlander.
We've got a new out-of-context quote about me responding to Amanda, I think.
Which,
From Highlander, like... Because I was like... watching / listening to
Yeah, while you were waiting for the download last night.
yeah.
Yeah, because we were waiting on you to download the update, because you didn't, because for some reason I guess your PlayStation didn't auto-update.
It does, but for some reason First Descendant keeps wanting to be updated a lot.
Well, because it's a new game, so
That
it's
is
a lot
true.
of there's a lot of updates and patches that they're trying to do, and they're trying to solve. Right now, the big thing they're trying to solve is people being AFK and taking advantage of the fact that in the game. So this is an explanation of the gameplay.
Yeah.
In the game, you do missions. Basically, you go into zones. You do missions, very much like Destiny and Warframe, where you just go do. It's more like Destiny, the open world aspect.
Yeah.
Whereas the Warframe is the gameplay. I'd say the gameplay is like Warframe, but the world is like Destiny. Is that kind of? I think that makes sense. Anyways, you go to a zone and you do a bunch of missions and then you do a dungeon. So the part that people are going AFK on and taking advantage of is in the open world when you're doing missions before the dungeons, you can hop into anybody's missions while they're doing them.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do really is be in the area.
Yeah.
You just have to be in the area when that mission starts, or at least shooting at the enemies when that mission's going. And you can be hopping onto that mission just as they're finishing it, and you still get the same amount of XP as if you were there from the beginning. You get all the rewards as if you were there from the beginning. You get everything. So what people are doing is they're AFKing, and then they're basically rubber banding their controllers so that way they're avoiding the AFK kick. So that way they're just running in a circle, right? It's a very common AFK avoiding type move is you rubber band your controller so you're constantly going in a circle, right? So that's what they're doing, except they're doing it in mission areas, so that way when the missions kick off, they're in the area and then they get the...
These lazy bastards.
Now, I think the last update, I don't know if it's fixed that, but I know they've been working hard to get that fixed. They also have been they're trying to prove to people that the percentages are more likely than they seem.
Oh, are they now?
Yeah, because that's a whole thing too. Is people are complaining about the percentages for rewards, because there are certain rewards that you have to grind for, and because it's a looter shooter, so it's a free to play looter shooter. It's what you get. You play free to play looter shooter, so there is going to be some grinding mechanics, right?
I'm not sure who I'm angrier at, Freyna or Suedo.
And so, Freyna's, for me, that dungeon only took me 6 times. You said it took you 9?
It took me like 9 or 10.
Yeah, so in order to unlock characters, you have to do different missions and dungeons to get parts, and then you research the parts, and then you can upgrade, right?
Mm.
I'm currently dealing with one that's a pain in the ass, and that's for a gun. It's not even for a character, and that one is I'm having to do a dungeon to get a thing, and then I have to fight a Colossi, which is like a boss giant creature that you can fight in the game, and then I have to fight them.
Colossi before you.
No, I have to do the dungeon first, and then in order to get this part, because I have to get the part, and then I have to go fight the Colossi, because the reward for defeating Colossi is that you can convert a part to something else, to another research component, right?
What I was going to say is you typically will fight a Colossi before you get taken to a new area.
Yeah, before you start a new area, yeah. So anyways, I'm having to repeat this dungeon, get that part, and then the part, because getting the part is 100%. Mm-hmm. So I do the dungeon, I always get that part. I always get that component. The part that's a pain is now converting it to the part I need for a gun after I defeat the Colossi, which is also a pain in the ass Colossi. It's one that you, Pixie, and Zach and me are fighting that y'all are hating right now.
I've gotten stronger since last time.
It's Dead Bride.
Dead Bride. My powers have doubled since we last met.
To be fair, she is also like technically beyond the max level of a character, because 40 is the max level, and then but really it's the reason you can go past that is because you're leveling up your weapons, and your weapons can go to whatever. Like I have not seen a max on the weapons yet, but I'm also still not new, but I'm not a veteran of the game, and the game is also only a couple weeks old, so like nobody is really a veteran of the game yet. Like,
the game's like, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's like 2 to 3 weeks, yeah. So
everyone's learning.
And so, but no, I have to then fight Dead Bride, and then I then have to, which it's not so bad when I'm doing public operations, because one, I have a pretty, I'm higher level than you, Pixie and Zax, so, although I'm using not my highest level character, because I'm leveling them up as well, which I think Bunny I maxed out, so Bunny's good now, so I'm really working on Freyna, and so, but I also have, like, level 50-something weapons.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm good.
So your weapons are suited to the job.
Yeah, and then... But then also, when I do public operation, I'm then matching with people that are also pretty well set and probably also grinding like I am. And so, generally, that fight takes maybe 3 minutes with them. And sometimes it's even faster. Sometimes I'll start the mission to fight her, and then she's already dead, like, within, like, a couple seconds, because everybody just went, and then dead.
Just mag dumped and dead.
Like, she doesn't even get into her phase 2,
Ah.
which is the real bitch of that fight.
Yeah. The poison on the arena definitely does not help.
You mean the lava?
Lava, whatever.
Yeah, the lava.
I keep thinking it's poison.
No, but there is a poison boss. There is a poison boss we have. Well, there's a poison Colossi we haven't fought yet. But the poison boss is also the dungeon because you're thinking of the dungeon. That's the dungeon I'm having to repeat as well to get that part. Which is like the dungeon you do before Dead Bride anyways. So, like, in theory, you should be able to do that dungeon, then play Dead Bride. But also, the part I need for the gun I need is only a 13% chance.
Ooh, shit. Okay. That is rough.
Yep.
It's like barely 1 in 10.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. And then, of course, the game is fun, though. Hey, Pixie.
Hey.
We're talking about our game.
Yep.
But yeah, and so people have also been speculating some stuff that it's going to be coming forward. And so some people are speculating about who the next hero is going to be, because obviously that's going to be the way that this game makes its money, is getting people to want the next heroes, right?
I saw them, like, I saw that there's, like, ultimate versions of, like,
There's ultimate versions of the main 3, so there's probably going to be more ultimate versions of the characters already existing. But in terms of new characters, people are actually suspecting that Corell's going to... That Corell's going to turn out to be a good guy.
Are you sure about that?
It's because of people are thinking that somebody else is gonna betray him. People are thinking that creepy guy that he got onto in that one cutscene.
Oh, Amon?
Yeah, Amon.
The little science freak?
Yeah, they think Amon's gonna turn on him, and like people are speculating that Corell is actually not a bad guy, and that he wants the Iron Hearts for actually a good reason. And we just don't know that because we're busy trying to get him as well and fighting him.
I'm confused as to...
because also the lore First Ascendant's so fresh that everybody doesn't understand everything about that universe yet.
I was thinking about this. What the fuck was Jeremy's goal?
So this is spoiler talk. This one's big spoiler talk. Because mine was speculation, but this is actual spoiler talk.
Because, like...
So Jeremy is a character, for those of you who are sticking around and don't care, Jeremy is a character that you run into, and he is the worst character. He is a character that you hate upon meeting.
Jeremy Jackass.
Yeah, Jeremy Jackass. Literally nobody who has played that game likes him. I have not talked to somebody who has played that game that's been like, you know what, Jeremy was actually okay.
But I'm thinking about it, with the information I have, I don't know what his plan was. Because it doesn't make sense.
I'll give you that. He was pretty badass when fighting. We'll give... When he fought Corell, and...
I appreciate the effort, but that just confused me more.
I don't think he was trying to betray humanity, right?
Yeah.
I think he was just thinking, oh, I'm better than everybody. I can do this by myself if I wasn't being held back by these suckers and assholes, right?
Like,
But in reality, no, Jeremy, you can't do it by yourself. That's kind of the whole point of why we're a team. He is better than everyone. No, he's not.
Hold on, Mix. You mean he was better
Yeah.
than everyone?
Hold on, we don't know if he's dead.
I don't know, man. He looked pretty banged up to me.
But we don't know if he's dead because he got tossed off a, it's the no body effect.
Oh yeah, they're gonna bring him back as clone of Jeremy.
No, they're gonna make him a playable character. Better come back half robot.
I mean, that's possible, I suppose.
I think if anything, they're gonna try to bring him back as a playable. Because
Ultimate Jeremy.
well, we don't even have a Jeremy as a playable yet, so. Because I've noticed that for the most part, every hero that they introduce us to, okay, that's the end of spoiler talk actually.
Yeah.
At every hero that they introduce us to, whenever you're about to start a conversation with them, they always talk about like their what they do. They have a little info box,
basic information.
yes, and a little bit about their past. And literally, they only do that really with the characters that you play as.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only exception is Alpha, which also Alpha could become a playable, for all I know. Like this game, honestly, there's so much like that they could do with this, because also Alpha doesn't have powers. I think
Alpha does, but he doesn't use them as much as he used to. Because he's been a descendant for 40 years.
That's true.
That's how long he has been in charge of Albion.
Yeah. So
I think I would also be an angry old man if I was in charge of dealing with these.
He did. Pixie. I mean, I get his name is Alpha, so. But he's not a Sigma.
Nah.
He's not a true Sigma.
Also, I'm a little bit confused as to what the deal with the Magisters is.
Yeah, the Magisters are interesting because they're like they're an alien race also who have interfered, but are also potentially connected to the
they're the reason
the Vulgus.
Yeah, they're the reason why humans have access to
The RK.
the RK.
Yeah. And so they're like connected to the Vulgus as well, which are the main bad guys. And then there's a connection there that they kind of vaguely talk about. Yeah. But they don't explain, they don't fully go almost
Whether
like they're
or not it's antagonistic or not.
It almost sounds like they're the same race but like subspecies, right? The way they talk about it. And it's weird. And then the only Magister that we really have contact with is our researcher, who is racist, by the way.
Hey man, that's a perfectly fine way to play.
You know, because
I'm just questioning things, being the big coward hiding behind everyone.
And then getting blown up by Pixie.
Occasionally. She hasn't managed to kill me with it yet, but she's trying.
That's the thing, though. This game works really well on a gameplay loop level, right? Like, it's a fun gameplay loop. And then... but also has an interesting story if you want to dive into it.
Also, what's the deal with the guide? I want to know.
The guide is sus, but also helping us. It's very Cortana Halo, where I'm like, is she gonna be corrupt at some point? What's going on? But yeah,
as a guy who does read like the mission files when I can, I'm like, what the fuck is everyone doing? Because I'm like, I need answers, and they're like, we're not going to give you any answers, and it's like, fuck.
But yeah, so that's what we've been up to this week. We're 30 minutes in, so let's go ahead and dive into our news articles that I found for this week. First off, exciting news for Galaxy of Heroes players, which I know a few. And I'm sometimes one. I'm not as hardcore as the other Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes fans. But hey, it's on PC and Mac now. It's technically early registration, but you can play it. Because I downloaded it and played it. I've been playing it a little bit. In fact, I did a test stream to try out some things that we're doing behind the scenes on the channel. And I played it for a little bit as part of the test stream. So Galaxy of Heroes is another it's a hero collector type game. You collect a bunch of heroes, and then you go through missions to collect stuff. It's more like, what's a game that I can? There's not a lot of games like it. There's a few, but it's like a hero collector sort of game where you're just repeating missions, getting parts to upgrade them, and getting ships, and it's a way to get all like your favorite Star Wars characters and get to play as them and fight things, right? And then if you're lazy like me, you can also have a motto fight. So I've been playing. It's fun, and so I'm glad it's on PC now because I stopped playing it on my phone just because I don't have room on my phone.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like, oh, it's on PC now. That's a little bit easier, and also like honestly, a lot of these it makes sense because a lot of mobile games are moving to PC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of these mobile only games are coming to PC, and so I think it was also a smart decision. Because it grows your audience for this game. It also looks nice on PC. They did some. I think they did some visual tweaking because it looks nice. It doesn't look realistic, but it looks good because they use like a cartoony art style for the characters. So yeah, and so that was nice. And so I would like it if Zynga would follow suit, because this was EA that did this. I hope Zynga kind of follows suit with doing it for Hunters, because I think Star Wars Hunters on PC would be so good.
I'm not a PC gamer, but who knows? Maybe
because it's essentially Overwatch.
Yeah.
And that's Overwatch's primary player base is PC. So I mean, imagine Hunters could compete really well if they bumped it to PC. They would probably have to do some visual tweaking and make it look a little bit nicer, because it is kind of a low-res game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you brought it to PC players would expect it to be a little bit better looking than it is. But I think they could do it. And so if Galaxy of Heroes, it's a more popular Star Wars mobile game. So in fact, it's the only Star Wars mobile game right now in existence, really, because all the other ones kind of...
I thought Hunters was a mobile game.
Okay, I guess it's a mobile game, but I also think of it more of a Switch game than a mobile game. But yeah,
oh yeah,
because I played on the Switch, but I guess it is a mobile game also. But yeah, so Galaxy of Heroes though has been the longest running mobile game, because every other one that came out around the same time is dead already. Because we had one that was like a Clash of Clans sort of game, that one's gone. We had the Diablo-like one, Uprising, which I'm still mad is gone. That one should have been ported to PC. That would have been so good on PC. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll see more games kind of make that... Because a lot of mobile games are making that transition. Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is on PC. There's a few other mobile games I can think of that I could probably think of if I looked it up. But there's a lot of mobile games are transitioning to PC as well because they realize there's a bigger player base there, and there's money there. That's the real that. Let's be honest. There's money there. That's why they did it. Now making you do it through the EA thing is a little bit. At least it's no longer Origin, but I will say Galaxy of Heroes has crashed a couple times for me on PC, but it's also early access right now, so
be aware.
Yeah.
And be aware of our next thing.
Anyways, but you're not a PC player, so it doesn't really affect you, and you didn't really play it on mobile, so once again, it didn't really affect you.
I played it for like a week.
Oh, you did play?
No, not Galaxy of Heroes. I keep thinking it's Hunters.
No.
It's the one mobile game I've played in a while.
Yeah. Technically, Baldur's Gate you have mobile technically because it's through your Chrome.
Yeah, but that's a Chromebook. It's not a...
But you can play it on your phone.
When I think of mobile,
You can play Baldur's Gate 1 on your phone. That's why it's in the Google Play Store at all. Playing Baldur's Gate 1 going...
God, that would be the worst.
The bear will really kill you then.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, well...
Bears specifically in every game.
But moving on to our next topic. We got a new trailer for Young Jedi Adventure Season 2. Let's watch it, because you already told me you didn't watch it yet.
Yeah, I didn't watch it yet.
You want to see something really impressive? Bet you didn't see that coming.
This August,
Coming through!
the Young Jedi are back
No, Nubs!
in an all-new season.
Nubs.
Face new trials.
It's okay. We're here to help. Hop on!
Confront new dangers.
You want to have some fun, Jedi?
Oh!
And explore new worlds.
Get him, gang! Nice one, Nubs.
May the Force
We can't let them get away.
be with you.
No! I know it can be scary sometimes. But being a Jedi is...
They made that character for you, didn't they?
Explore the galaxy.
And Belle's back. Belle and Ember.
Experience the adventure. And reunite with friends.
We wouldn't be a team without you. What do you say? We can be more than just heroes. We'd be legends. What are we waiting for?
Young Jedi Adventures Season 2.
All right.
Available August 14th.
August 14th. I wonder if they're going to do the whole season drop. I'm curious.
Past record.
Well, I'm curious because I'm curious if they learned their lesson from season 1. Season 1 was
We need to split them apart to entertain the children.
but it looks good. It looks good. And it's not that far away. August 14th. That's like right around the corner. Right, because what? That's like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty soon.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks, but that's still right around the corner. So it's a month. It's a month out. So about good spacing to announce that. I'm pumped. I'm excited to watch it and review it for the show. God, remember when you were like, I'm never watching that, and then it became one of your favorite shows.
It is. The part that makes it enjoyable is the fact that I watch it with you and we riff on it. Like, it actually is a good show, but the moments of, like, where it's like, you know, if this wasn't a children's show, this would be incredibly brutal. And then they're like, yeah, this is a children's show. This is still kind of brutal.
Yeah.
If you think about the horrifying implications of 5 droids being shut off at once, and then being arranged in, like, a clearly, like, they just got beat up state. It's like, Tabor, what have you done?
Tabor's done a lot of things. Stuff he's going to have to deal with in the next season, probably.
Tabor, as long as they never find out.
Because Tabor's a bit like Kylo Ren. He's struggling with his light and dark side. He's like, am I a good guy? Am I a bad guy?
My stupid parents won't let me do good for the community. So I decided to
Be a pirate. I'm a pirate. But I don't want to be a pirate.
That's too damn bad.
I was doing the Seinfeld. I don't want to be a pirate.
Caleb, that show is older than I am.
But you probably have heard the clip.
I don't think I've heard that specific one.
Oh, okay. He's wearing like a puffy shirt, and so the joke is that he looks like a pirate. It's a pretty good joke. Anyways, yeah, I'm excited for season 2. I think. No, it's not. I was gonna joke that it's my most anticipated show. Legitimately, though, I am anticipating it. I'm excited to see where they go with it, especially the implications, because we are getting closer to the end of Phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because the end of Young Jedi Adventure Season 1 was the start of Phase 1. Like, they ended with Phase 1 kind of... They ended at the end of Wave 1 of Phase 1, which was... Because they ended with the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
so
commemoration of
yeah.
Starlight Beacon.
yeah. And so are we gonna do wave 2 for season 2? And then we end with the Republic Fair?
Maybe. We'd like to repeat.
And then by season 3 we get to the end of phase 1 with Starlight Beacon being destroyed.
Mm.
Maybe that's the path they're going on, or maybe they get to that at the end of season 2. I doubt they'll jump that far in season 2. I think they're gonna do wave by wave.
Yeah, we'll see.
But that's it for that part. As far as other news, Ahsoka
Mm-hmm.
has scored 5 Emmy nominations. The first is for outstanding sound editing for a comedy or drama series, half hour, and animation. So Ahsoka is going up against Blue Eye Samurai, Only Murders in the Building, which is a good show. Star Trek Lower Decks, also a good show.
Give you 3 guesses which of those other shows I watched.
And then The Bear. I'm gonna assume The Bear.
No.
No? Blue Eye Samurai. Yeah. How was the sound editing in that? Pretty good?
It was good.
Enough to beat Ahsoka, or?
Not sure about that. That one, in my opinion, is a coin toss.
It also has outstanding special visual effects in a season or a movie, it's up against Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fallout, Loki, so I think the new season, so season 2, and Shogun, which has been on my list, but
It's a case of life keeps happening.
I just also am watching other things usually, and so
We'll sit down and we'll watch that one.
because I think the only 2 on that list that I haven't watched are Avatar and Shogun, because I haven't watched the new Avatar. I heard mixed things. I heard it's okay in some parts, but then it's not that great in others. I heard it does Iroh and Zuko really well, but it didn't do the main core team Avatar very well for the first season. Now, maybe a second season could fix that. Who knows? It also got a nomination for Outstanding Fantasy Sci-Fi Costumes. It is going up against Echo. Echo's costumes are good, but I don't know why it's in... I mean, it's superhero, but I wouldn't... I don't know. It's weird. Because I don't immediately think fantasy sci-fi all the time when I think comic books and superheroes sometimes. Especially one like Echo, who's like a street-level... Daredevil style. And then Fallout. Fallout could easily maybe get that sci-fi costumes. Loki, and then What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows also has good costumes. It also got Outstanding Period or Fantasy Sci-Fi Hairstyling, which it's going up against Feud, Capote versus the Swans, Palm Royale, Shogun, and The Gilded Age. And then the last one that it's nominated for is Outstanding Prosthetic Makeup, going up against Fallout, which I think for that it might get it because of the ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
But it also is up against Shogun, The Witcher, and True Detective Night Country, which also could also take it. Honestly, I think in terms of all of the things that Ahsoka's in, like you said, it's a coin toss. Like, all of these are good shows in their own right. Even with Avatar in there, it's like that's a mixed bag, but a lot of people still did like it. So it's, I mean, and in their categories, any of them could take them, and so I think that's a good thing, though. I think if you're doing a award show and there's a clear winner, why?
It's not a good award show.
Yeah, like there should be.
There's no point.
Yeah, just give it to the one that's obviously the clear winner. Just give it to them. But yeah, and so the Emmys will be September 14th, so a couple months from now. for the categories that Ahsoka's taking part of, and then because those are like, for some reason they separate the categories now, where they do like the prime stuff like best show, like the best category, like best film, until like they put those in a prime time slot later, and then they do so they do them the next day, and then they do like the trade stuff, the technical aspects, the day before the main event, which kind of feels cheap. I feel like you should do it all together because it makes I think it's not fair to the technical side of, because without that you still don't have the shows and movies that we make, so it's not. I feel like it's kind of putting them to the side, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I don't like that.
Makes it seems like credit is not being given where it is deserved.
Yeah, especially because normally they don't air the day before one. So I don't know if that. So yeah, or at least they don't make a big show of it like they do the main primetime event. Anyways.
All right.
What else did we have? Oh, got 2 comic news pieces. First, Marvel announced a Ewoks miniseries that's going to take place after Return of the Jedi. Let's go. All you Ewok fans. That's exciting. It's also just a miniseries, so it's a fun little piece. It's probably going to be 5 issues if I were to guess. They got the Steve Orlando to write it, who did the Life Day special in the Darth Vader Black, White, and Red comics. And then they got Alvaro Lopez and Laura Braga to do the art, which I don't think Alvaro's done anything Star Wars, but he's done Marvel, he's done Venom stuff. And then Laura Braga has done the High Republic comics for art. So, the official statement from Marvel: the series will take place in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi, as the Ewoks must once again stand against a caravan of carnage to save their home. Fans can expect new insight into Ewok culture, the return of friendly faces like Wicket, and the introduction of all new Ewok heroes. A team of Imperial-led bounty hunters and scavengers arrive on the Forest Moon of Endor, searching for a secret cache of Imperial weaponry. Are they prepared to face off against the battle-ready Ewoks who took down so many of their ranks? Who is the mysterious new warrior Ewok returning to Bright Tree Village, and what is their connection to Wicket W. Warwick? So that's going to be exciting. And then the other piece of comic news is one that we've long been waiting to hear, and we have been speculating on, and half of us were I think we assumed this was the direction it was going to go. Yeah. We just were waiting for the official confirmation. So yes, we knew that the new era of Star Wars comics is coming once issue 50s are out for Mainline and Darth Vader, and now we know where it's going. They are officially going post Return of the Jedi for the next set of of comics. And of course, Ewok obviously being the setup for that, right? So we already know the Ewok thing is happening. And then they said in October of this year is when the new stuff starts to really push. Because they've given us a poster with Vader's melted helmet. And it says the final battle of the Galactic Civil War begins. And so a lot of people are assuming we're going to get the Battle of Jakku in comic form, which we've seen 3 different angles of at this point, I believe. Because we've got Aftermath, the Aftermath novels, which give us a point of view on it. We got Battlefront 2's campaign, which gives us a point of view on it. We got Lost Stars, which gives us a point of view on it. I think... Oh. Yeah, and then, of course, the article we're looking at from Star Wars Newsnet, they're talking about some other stuff that Marvel could play around with, because one of the first things they published was the Shattered Empire comic, which was the immediate post-Return of the Jedi stuff, which showed us Operation Cinder, which is a part of Battlefront 2 as well, which is Palpatine's contingency plan of let's fuck some shit up and get some revenge from the dead stuff.
Palpatine, you didn't win.
And so we could see some more Operation Cinder stuff. We could but that's unlikely since Shattered Empire kind of delved into that pretty well as a miniseries. And also, that was all to lead us up to what was going on in the sequel films, right? Because that was Shattered Empire was supposed to start the hints that Palpatine was still around. Even in 2015, they were like dropping the hints that Palpatine was going to be coming back. So I mean, I could probably see them doing another Battle Jakku from somebody's perspective. It'd be interesting. I agree with Star Wars Newsnet here. It'd be interesting to see Dr. Aphra in that era of Star Wars.
Leave her alone. Leave the poor lady alone.
Like, it would be interesting, though, to see, like, her scavenging for stuff at the post-Battle Jakku and finding something related to the Emperor being around, because we know there's some stuff there, which is why the Battle Jakku happens. We're probably not going to get a Return of Bounty Hunter comics. I think that's...
Probably not. But that's okay.
But we're probably going to start seeing the new number ones very soon and figuring out what we are getting. We're definitely probably going to get a mainline Star Wars. We're getting a Star Wars number 1. So it's going to be Star Wars 2024 number 1. We're not going to get a Vader, I don't imagine. I don't know how they would do that. Maybe we get a Snoke miniseries.
That'd be interesting. I feel like that's a character that could be utilized a little more.
Yeah, and we could, because we kind of know a little bit about him, and he's not like heavy important. He's like minorly important, but it would still be interesting to see the early stages of Palpatine's plan. Now that all the movies regarding that are out, we now know what the plan is. So let's now fill in the puzzle pieces of how we got there, right? Maybe they'll do I was gonna say maybe they do a Mando comic, but really the show, because there is some gap between episode 6 and the first episode of the show, because I think there's like a 6-year gap, 6 or 7, something like that. So there's some gap there. So if they want to do a bounty hunters like comic, Din before he meets Grogu, see what kind of person he was beforehand, right? A little more. Dig into the bounty hunter aspect of him before his major character growth happens, right? And then yeah, so I'm curious to see where they go. But we've been needing this era shift for a while.
Yeah.
We've been needing this moment, so I'm glad it's official now. But that's it for news. So let's get into our main topic.
Yeah. You go first.
Well, first off, spoiler warning for a show that's pretty old.
For a show that would be in high school now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 15 years old. Star Wars The Clone Wars, we're going to do Season 1, although this is the Seasons 1 through 3 box, because I've got the Season 1 through 5 box. And no, I want you to go first. So let's...
No.
What, do you need more time?
You're hitting me with a no you?
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever.
Let's be mean first.
Okay.
So that way we can be mean, and then we can be nice. Right? That way we end on the high note. So I asked you to consider your least favorite and your favorite episode. Now, of course, if it's hard to pick a specific episode, you can do arc, right? Because they did arcs. So, because I know you were thinking on it. So start with the least favorite.
It is the R2 being missing.
Okay, just the arc as a whole, or
It's just the. It's so like. So for me,
Mhm.
the first 8 episodes were not the best,
yeah, because
But-
the show is because I will discuss this with you.
but
Yeah, good.
I was like, okay, it's fine. It was 2008. It was a different time.
2009,
2009.
8, 9, yeah, because it starts in 8, yeah.
It was pretty. I'm like, as a child, I would have been hyped as fuck. But now, as an adult, I can see moments where things are like the editing's a little bit scratchy, and I'm like, that's fine. They were just getting
Well,
started.
yeah, it's the season 1. Yeah, that was
So-
what I was gonna say. It's the season 1 blues.
The one
They haven't figured out
I
their.
really do like the first Yoda Plo Koon. I like those episodes. I also like the Malevolence section
Oh, the Malevolence arc is pretty
because
good.
I'm like, this is actually. It's one of the things where I was like, the Clone Wars is a lot early days. People having big weapons that do specific things is going to probably
Well, it's
be.
it's a commentary on like super weapons and yeah.
And I think I do remember what one of the little notes that I wrote down for my notepad, because I took notes for like the first 6 episodes, and then I got halfway through and I was like, "This is stupid."
Which is
I'm not
basically
gonna
which
do
is
it."
about a quarter of the show of
Yeah.
the season.
I remember at one point for the first episode, I just wrote, "Ventress is bad at scheming."
Honestly, you know, I was doing our least favorite and most favorite, but we can just talk about the episodes, however. But yeah, and so, but yeah, okay. So your least is that.
Is where R2 goes missing. And at first I'm like, Anakin, I understand you want R2 back, but could you quit being such an asshole about it?
See, funny so you say you like the Yoda episode. It was funny to me because honestly, I think that the pilot episode is the weakest. I think it's very weak. It does a good job of establishing certain things, but as far as like drawing attention and making you excited for the rest of the show, I think it didn't do that very well. Because one, it focuses. While Yoda's great, although I have beef with Yoda as well. While Yoda is great, he's not why people wanted to watch Clone Wars.
Mhm.
You wanted to watch for Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And so, I think for me, it's my least favorite. I don't hate the episode though. That's what I should preface that right, because I don't think
I will
either
admit-
either of us are saying we hate those episodes. We are saying they are just the weakest in that season, right?
Yeah.
And so, I put the Yoda one as the weakest personally because I think the pacing it goes into that pacing and editing and stuff like that, and I think it's as the season went on it gets better and better. But of course I also don't think the show finds its footing till season 2, and even then it's like mid season 2. I think that it really discovers what it is, and season 3 it absolutely knows what it is, and that's probably like prime Clone Wars television. But we'll get into that when we get to those seasons. Keeping to season 1, I think I'll go ahead and start with my favorite. That since I had you do the least favorite first, I think my favorite is. It's actually pretty tough. It's either between Hostage Crisis, the finale, which is a pretty good finale for season 1, and then I bet you're surprised I didn't say least favorite was a different episode.
No, I'll wait.
But my other favorite is probably it's got to be probably the it's at a whole arc. It's the Nuke Gunray arc. Because I love how they utilize Jar. First off,
New Gunray's capture and retreat.
his capture by Jar Jar is great. The Bombad Jedi episode is a great way of showing that Jar Jar can be funny and can be utilized correctly.
I've come to the conclusion that Jar Jar only knows how to spend destiny points.
Which is a Edge of the Empire tabletop Star Wars reference, which it basically gives you advantage on things and can change your luck essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's all he knows how to do.
and so I like it because it's utilizing a character that by that point people had been like, it's the worst character in Star Wars, right?
Mm.
But I think it utilizes him so well that people have like completely turned about on it.
I'll say this: he's not my favorite character, but much like when I was a child, I'm like, I don't hate this guy.
Yeah, and my dad loves Jar Jar, and so
Jar Jar is very goofy to watch.
yeah,
And I'm like, it kind of fits. Star Wars is a little goofy sometimes.
And then I like the second episode, which is the darkness. What is it? It's something darkness. Anyways, it's Ahsoka and Luminara on guard duty,
Yeah.
and also questioning him, so that way they can
Mhm.
like.
We're Ahsoka.
It's a good opportunity to see Ahsoka past and like
Apart from
Anakin and seeing like how the teachings are already starting to affect her, and comparing her to more strict Jedi
Yeah.
masters.
Ahsoka. What if I just beat his ass? And Luminara's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't just...
Yeah. And so I like it for that, and I'm trying to figure out the episode name still. Cloak of Darkness. And then of course we get Ventress. And this time Ventress, because that's the other trick that this show does really well, is the villains have to win sometimes.
Mhm.
Because if the villains don't win, then they're no longer a threat.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why you don't have like you don't have it's why they do like the secondary villains in certain episodes, like in the other episode that I assume you were gonna think was my least favorite, which is the lemur people, the arc, because you get George Takei as the villain in that one, right? And he's like a secondary general type commander villain.
Yeah.
And so you have those, so that way when they lose, it's not a big deal because they're not the big bads, right? They're not the Ventresses, the Grievuses, or the Dooku's.
Yeah.
You don't want those three to lose too much. Like, they can lose now and then, but if they are losing every time they're on screen, takes away the idea that they're a threat.
Yeah.
And so that is something that like Dave and George talked about as the show was coming out. They're like, that's why we have these secondary villains. And so, because you got to have the tension, even though this is like a kid show. And so, I like that. And then of course we get kind of a stalemate in the third episode, the Lair of Grievous for that arc. That's kind of a stalemate. I think nobody really won that. That was very much a we survived.
Yeah, Lair of Grievous is definitely, I'd say, like, for me, there was a lot of potential in the 5th or 6th episode where it's like the clones are like, well, shit, we're on our own here.
Oh, that's is that the second half of the droid arc where Ahsoka, because I think 6 is that.
No, it's the one immediately after they've taken down Malevolence.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hold on. Clone Wars Season 1. I'm just going to pull up the list.
Yeah.
Just so that way we can, like, make sure we're on the same episodes. Oh, Rookies. Yeah, Rookies.
Yeah, that...
Which is also in my top for favorites. It's like in my top 3.
Rookies is definitely, I'll say, one of the ones I enjoyed more. Because I feel like once it gets past Bomb Bad Jedi, that's when things start looking up.
Yeah. Jedi Crash and Defenders of Peace are kind of weak for me, but I like them more than I used to.
Lair of Grievous and Dooku Captured.
Oh yeah, Dooku Captured and the Gungan General.
I like Lair of Grievous because I like survival horror and that type of thing.
And that's essentially like you're playing Dead by Daylight, or one of those type of games.
Yeah.
And Grievous is the killer. And you gotta, and it's a survival horror. You are just trying to leave. That is your only goal. Your goal is not to like they think they can they're like, we could try to capture them, and then eventually they're like, actually no, we just need to leave.
They had a good plan. They just didn't have enough people for it.
Mm-hmm. Because they're like, we're already here.
Might as well.
They're like, let's surprise him because he doesn't know we're here.
Meanwhile, Grievous is like, good. Wait, no, not good.
He's like, it's the scene from Pirates of the Caribbean when Will Turner returns to the shop after when after Jack's been trying to free himself, and he's like, I didn't leave that there. I didn't leave you there.
Yep.
It's that scene. And Grievous is just like, wait a minute. And he's like, where's my butler? Where's my butler?
And it's like, oh no.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, wait. And then Dooku calls him and he's like, hey,
by the way, I left some Jedi with you.
yeah, you've been sucking a lot lately, so I need
yourself.
Yeah. Kill a Jedi.
Meanwhile, Asajj over here completing her mission successfully. Minus that incident with Yoda, but it's
Yeah.
Yoda.
So Asajj had the last win, and then as far as Grievous's last mission, he failed because it was the droids one, and then you could argue he's had 3 losses in a row because he's lost the droid arc, and then he lost the rookies episode, and then he also lost the Malevolence.
Yep.
3 losses in a row.
Then, man, Grievous must have been just fuming about Anakin and Ahsoka. Throughout, the entire thing, when he finally gets him on his little ship, he's like, I finally got this fucker that's been causing me so many problems.
But Dooku capture's great, because we get the introduction of Hondo, a fan favorite.
Hondo Ohnaka.
Voiced by the ever-wonderful Jim Cummings. A.K.A. Darkwing Duck, A.K.A. Tigger, A.K.A. a lot of your childhood.
Yeah.
The original Minsk for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
I just wanted my spice and my money, but now I have to torture people.
Yeah, he's an honorable pirate. Look, if they, sure, he's going to steal the spice, but...
Yeah.
Actually, no, he wasn't. It was his underlings that were like, let's just steal it. He's like, but we could trade.
Yeah. See?
We could trade.
I love at the end of the episode, they're like, so do we still have Dooku for capture? Dooku flies off. Guess that question's answered.
Yeah, I love the end of the first episode where it's like, you think... I love the jump from the end of Dooku Captured to the start of Gungan General, where at the end of Dooku Captured, they watch the pirates drug their drink, and they swap the drinks with the pirates, so that way they don't get drugged. But then the very next episode, they're captured still, and it's like, so did they still get drugged? What happened there? What happened between those 2 episodes? How'd that happen? It's the, we're smarter than this. How did we get here?
It's your idea, master. Look, sometimes circumstances are bullshit, and you just have to deal with them.
But then we get another great Jar Jar episode, where Jar Jar has to take on a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Oh, the end of the Gungan General. Oh, wait, no. It's not this one. It's a great Jar Jar moment between...
is it the Blue Shadow virus?
It's at the end of the Blue Shadow virus. Technically Mystery of a Thousand Moons, because...
That's the Shadow virus arc.
Trespass also
Trespass is
really
so good. Trespass is...
I don't know what it is about the Snow Planet episodes in Star Wars where they're like, time for us to do something that if this wasn't a children's show would be fucking terrifying.
Well, I mean, because the premise is it's colonialism, right? It's just like...
I'm like, can we not listen to the most evil looking fucker in the room? Let's be for real. He looks evil.
And he's very colonialist. He's very, this is our land, and it's just like,
I'm like, oh, I'm over here with Chuchi. I'm like, yeah, I agree, Senator. I don't see any blaster marks. There should be some if droids did this.
But also, you have also been exposed to Chi-Chi with Bad Batch and seeing that she is a good influence generally on events.
No, I just was making observations.
I know, but I'm saying, like, there is a, like, Chi-Chi's generally a good person compared to the other guy.
Yeah. Who does not live past this episode.
Kind of gets what he deserves, I would say. Personally. Hidden Enemy's also good. It's our first out of sequence episode because we get a few of those where where for the most part the order that they air is the order they take place in, but there are some episodes.
Is the Hidden Enemy
It takes place before the movie.
I was going to ask, is it the imposter one?
Yeah, it's well, not imposter, but the traitor.
Yeah. Another one where I'm like, where it's Seth has basic detective skills.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, I think...
But also, it's...
He is so obvious.
Yeah.
He's just like... Yeah, we're gonna frame my buddy here, and don't worry, we're gonna figure it out. You got this. And it's like... Why are you pushing so hard? It's if you have ever played Among Us for like 5 minutes, or Goose Goose Duck, and you're immediately like... He's pushing. He's trying to push that, because like if you played those type of games, like when it comes to like figuring out imposter type games, the imposter always tries to push somebody like that, and it's just like.
I will say, seeing the guy come out with droid fingers, I'm like, well.
Oh, Chopper.
I'm like, that's.
Well, it's a war crime.
That's disturbing. Not what we're here for.
Yeah.
So you're free to go.
While a war crime, not what we're looking at right now. And so it turns out to be Slick.
Yeah. Everyone else.
I love my favorite scene in that episode is how Rex and Cody outsmart Slick.
Yeah.
They look at each other and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's in here, isn't he?"
Yeah.
And then they immediately go, "Oh, he must have went over this way. Let me place my gun down inconspicuously right where he can see."
Slick, smartest separatist spy in the world. The galaxy.
But it also, so one it's our first out of sequence episode, so that kind of tells us, okay, this is going to be a show that kind of does that every now and then. They stop really doing that after season 3, thankfully, because seasons 2 and 3 get really like
confusing.
They get confusing in terms of if you're trying to watch things in order and try to like
in chronological.
Yeah. Which I'm not making us worry about that. We're just...
All right.
Otherwise, we would have watched some episodes from Season 3 already. We would have watched some episodes from Season 2. It would have been a mess. Yeah. So I'm just going, we're watching per season.
So, going back to how Slick is captured, I'm like, it's smart of you that you took out the magazine from the gun.
Yeah, your magazine, yeah.
However, I'm a little upset with you, Cody. Or is it Rex? It's one of them.
I think it was Cody. Yeah, it's Cody who puts his gun there.
Okay, I'm not mad at Cody because he does what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, and he's very smart about it.
Yeah,
he's like,
I'm upset at Rex because when he like goes to, once they're like, haha, we've got you. He goes and he stops holding it like it's supposed to be held, right?
Yeah.
And then he one-hands it, and I'm like, why would you do this? You're within arm's reach. This is gonna cause all sorts of... Oh, it's causing problems.
Not the, haha, we got you. I love that how you phrase that. Haha, we got you.
We got you, idiot. We took the bullets out of our gun.
Also, Slick, are you the dumbest clone ever? How can you not tell the difference between a gun that's loaded and not loaded? You were bred and made for this. You were trained from birth.
This is what you do. You know what? Maybe you got so hyped with the freedom that you forgot about it.
To be fair, he didn't want to be a soldier, which was like his whole...
I want out.
Like, that was his whole purpose. He was like, look... Which... Slick has an argument there.
Mm-hmm.
That is where Slick's argument is, okay, that's a fair argument. But also, like Rex and Cody say, yeah, you just had to betray your brothers to make that happen, huh?
They're like, it'd be one thing if you ran away,
Yeah, like
but you sold us out.
running away. We're still gonna
bad.
we're still gonna
We'd
give you
still be
shit for.
upset. But that's a lot better.
And in fact, we do get an episode like that later. We get because there are a couple who go
Said,
AWOL.
fuck this, I'm leaving.
Yeah, so we'll get an episode like that later, and we'll get a discussion. We'll get to discuss what like our opinions on that when that episode comes up.
No, Blue Shadow Virus. That was a fun one. The Shadow Virus.
Yeah, the Shadow Virus episodes.
Duo.
I already knew watching it. I was like, Seth's gonna love the scientist character because of how
I'm
over the top
like-
scientist he is.
I'm like, could we please shoot this motherfucker?
But I meant you
I'm
probably
like,
love him
he's
as a
an
villain.
evil bastard. I'm like, he's like, and now 10 more sophisticated life forms will die, and I'm like, you're a war criminal.
Well, yeah, he's developing chemical warfare.
That's biological warfare.
Well, biological.
which is very different.
Well, yeah, biological, yeah, because virus,
and
yeah.
it's worse.
Yeah, he's doing biological warfare, and he's already, testing it on Naboo. He's already put it in their water.
It's like, we gotta kill this guy now.
And then when they're like, hey, did you make where's the cure? He's like,
Why would I?
I was here to make a virus.
Why would I do that?
Which, hey, look, smart on him. That's not a lot of villains are that smart. A lot of villains would have made the cure.
Like, I don't care. I fucking love making viruses and watching what happens. Why would I do that?
And then the second episode.
I will say,
yeah.
in the second episode, once they've got our mad scientist under arrest, Obi-Wan looks like the lighting shows that, it's weird to see Obi-Wan look like he just wants to beat the fuck out of somebody, but you can see him in the background, where the rest of Anakin and Padme are talking to each other, and Obi-Wan just looks like he wants to beat the shit out of him.
To be fair, the man was gonna kill a bunch of people,
Yeah.
civilians.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that we get to see Iago finally, because that's a planet that was mentioned before.
Mhm.
Because it's Phantom Menace. It's the angels. They come from the moons of Iago, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because when he calls Padme that, he's
We get to see you on.
yeah. We get to see an angel. We get to see Iago. Deadly planet.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see a kid much like Anakin who is good with droids.
You see Anakin without the Force.
I mean, he doesn't use it a lot in that episode, yeah.
No, I don't mean. I mean in terms of the kid.
Oh, yeah.
You see Anakin if he maybe had a nicer beginning and no Force powers.
Yeah, wasn't a slave, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Although I will say it does have a good Jar Jar and Rex moment where they're like, all right, so we're gonna, since Padme and Ahsoka almost died because Jar Jar shot a blaster when he didn't need to, we're gonna put him in blaster training. And Rex is pulled down the stretcher and he looks over at Jar Jar and he goes, I'm not training him.
and then the Ryloth arc is so good.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of our first hardcore arc. The other arcs have been kind of oh, we're telling a narrative story. That's a fun. Oh, I did want to go back actually to Rookies because we didn't talk about it too much. I love Rookies also because it's the introduction of some of our favorite clones. Fives and Echo. Some
shinies.
some.
What does that mean? Your armor is shiny and new, just like you.
I also really liked Heavy and Droid Bait and Cut Up as well, and so I like the whole Rookies, the whole Shinies team. It's unfortunate what happens to everybody except Echo and Fives.
Yeah, Heavy does get a pretty good
He's got he goes out the way he wanted.
Yeah.
So
The droids. Do we take prisoners?
I don't think so.
Well, I certainly don't.
God. That inspired me to do some fan fiction, honestly, that episode. Yeah, I did some clone stuff that I never put anywhere. I just wrote it myself and didn't post it anywhere. But it made me inspired because I was like, man, I love these clones. These are some cool... Because that's what this Clone Wars... We talked about this with the movie. But that's what this version of Clone Wars does really well versus the Gindi one. It humanizes them, makes them characters, gives them names. And so it's just like, oh, these are people I care about.
Whereas, like, with the Gendy one, these are some scary motherfuckers that are not people.
Yeah. And so this one makes it people. And the Ryloth arc also kind of continues that, right? With Waxer, with Boiler and Waxer, right?
Boil and Waxer.
Yeah. With Boil and Waxer, it kind of continues that of like, oh, these are people who, like, and sure, that's only one of the episodes out of that arc, but it's an important one because the whole point is not only are the clones people, but so are the civilians that we don't really think about when it comes to these galactic wars in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Like in Star Wars, we're generally
We don't
looking at the
often
heroes, and we're not seeing the
I
consequences.
remember. So, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch Overly Sarcastic Productions? You check them out every once in a while?
Yeah, I know OSP.
Okay. They have a good one recently talking about episode 3.
Oh,
And they
okay.
do bring up Clone Wars as a whole, and they're like, because they're talking about episode 3 and Clone Wars, this one and the old one, they talk about the context they provide for the clones and everything, as well as the general thesis of what their thing is.
Mhm.
And it's in the Clone Wars, there were heroes everywhere, but it wasn't enough.
Yep.
And
Because it gets even more complicated once we hit like seasons 3, when they start to go, oh, and there are good people on the Separatist side too. Because that's when we start to delve into that, and it's just like, oh, so this just sucked all around.
yeah,
Because we know why the Separatists, like we know the general reason why the Separatists are leaving the Republic, and it is, and we can talk about this more when we hit season 3, but it's outside of the Sith part, right?
Yeah.
If we take Dooku and Grievous and like if we take the bad guys, the actual bad guys out of it, and the Trade Federation as well,
Yeah.
right? Because they're the corruption, right? If we look at the people that make up the Senate and that of the Separatists, because they do create their own Senate. If we look at those people, they are leaving the Republic because the Republic has become so corrupt that the Outer Rim and other worlds just aren't getting what they need from the Republic anymore.
and if you're not getting what you need from one place, you'll look for it in another.
Yes, and of course Dooku and agents like that are taking advantage of it. And of course the Trade Federation also, which are trying to do both sidesism. They're like, we're on both sides. We're not bad guys.
We like
Even
money.
though we're the ones who make all the droids. Well, and the Banking Clan and the Techno Union. Like, well, Banking Clan doesn't really, but Techno Union and Trade Federation, they make the droids. So it's just like, Yet Trade Federation still has a seat in the Republic Senate.
somehow.
It's just Newt Gunray is the bad one. They go, no, it's Newt Gunray and his lackeys. They're the bad ones, not us. Even though we're also corrupting the Republic still.
But like, I do like.
But yeah, and the Ryloth arc is basically World War II.
Mhm.
Because this is the one where it really feels the most like World War II, which is what, according to Dave and George, that's what they were going for with this arc. And because you get the freedom fight, then Liberty on Ryloth, the Mace episode, you get the French freedom fighters, right?
Mhm.
You get we don't really care for the government that we were under before our occupation, but we also hate these occupiers, and we're going to take them out.
Yep. Which is a little bit of what Liberty on Ryloth focuses on.
Yeah, and and we kind of start to see the idea of third, like, neutral planets as well, because that's what Cham Syndulla, Hera's dad, wants in this. He wants for Ryloth to just not be part of the Republic or the Separatists, because he's like, neither of y'all are good for us. Like, we're getting rid of one occupier, we don't want another.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll stick around with the Republic for now, but if you occupy us, then we're done.
Yeah. But just getting to.
Which is also set up for what happens in Revenge of the Sith. because the whole idea is the Republic won the war, but now they become the occupiers, and it's very easy to quickly become the occupiers if you're already there. Because the transition from Republic to Empire was so, like, it wasn't very swift, but it was swift. And it was swift enough that, like, almost it feels overnight for the people that are being occupied.
Yeah.
So, like, Ryloth and Kashyyyk, worlds where,
We were already having problems.
yeah, and, like, y'all helped us get rid of the Separatists, but then we let you hang around, and now that you've hung around, you've become the occupier. And that's why Cham is so pushing against it.
Like, get them out.
And, of course, we'll see some more Cham, Syndulla, later on in the series.
And the innocence of Ryloth is very much like the human cost.
Yeah, I think the Innocence and Liberty have very similar themes and are trying to get some similar points across. And I think the show as a whole is just war is bad. Like, in a weird way, like, while it feels like this show is glorifying war because it does 7 seasons of a 3-year war, it's really not. It's really trying to, like, the point that's trying to be made is that war is bad. That's, which is a very George Lucas point to make. It's a point that he tends to.
You know that war is bad, actually, and it's like, yeah, how are you gonna explain it this time?
But he does. I think
and it's not a bad one. It's good to be reminded.
Yeah, and especially as we just keep getting drawn into them over and over and over and over, because they're unfortunately sometimes there's really not a lot of options. And then we see.
How do you feel about the lamer people?
And so, like, and then we see, like, with Innocence of Ryloth, we see like you said, the human cost. We see the non-combatants, what happens to their homes, what happens to, and then of course prisoners of war, as well as illegal prisoners of war with the Twi'leks, however you want to pronounce it, being held as prisoners and meat in human shields, because they're like, oh, the Jedi won't.
The Jedi will not risk just going in.
Yeah, and Storms of over Ryloth, we see also. I mean, we also see some more of human life and clone life, as well, and the cost of that, because Ahsoka, and what happens if
whole squadron
dead. Right? And so, like, I think the Ryloth arc has a lot of similar themes going on across. But also the show as a whole has these themes. Like, that's the thesis of the show, right?
I do feel like
that's why we get morals at the beginning of every episode. We get the little moral quote at the beginning, because there's a lesson we're supposed to be learning every episode. It's not a case of, oh, this is just mindless fun. No, there are lessons here.
I feel like Storm over Ryloth it's a good episode, but it's kind of has like 2 separate themes or messages going on.
Oh yeah, because it's got the cost, but also, like, be confident in yourself at the same time.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I get what you're trying to say, but pick one to be clearer.
Because I think you can have both of those lessons. It's just it can muddy it a little bit, having both of them at the same time. But I think both of those lessons are good lessons.
Mm-hmm. Especially for Ahsoka, considering.
Because she's young. And so it's like, you are in charge, though, so you are responsible for these people. Yeah. But also, as part of that responsibility, you as a leader have to be confident with what you're saying. Otherwise, nobody will listen.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the mixed message.
Ahsoka, like, I'm like, that is a hard way to learn it, and Anakin's like, look, sometimes you're gonna lose people.
Yeah, and then poor Yularen getting hospitalized.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, at the end is definitely like, hey, you're young. Sometimes people are gonna probably not listen to you. Just be louder than them sometimes. And mean what you say and know what you say.
Yeah. Because that is part of also why she lost her squadron, is she wasn't confident with the plan. She wasn't really telling them, hey, this is what we're doing. She was kind of wishy-washy on what they were doing,
Yeah.
which is part of why she lost them. So I think that's why they needed that second half of the lesson.
Also, know when to follow orders.
Yeah. That too, yeah. Know when to fall back.
Know when to fall back. Be confident in your skills. And sometimes, regardless, you're gonna lose people. Are like the 3 things. I'm like, that's a lot. That's a lot for a 22-minute episode.
Yeah. Finale.
Finale, hostage crisis.
Such a good finale.
Woo, competent villains.
Yep. We get bounty hunters, which is going to be kind of a theme for season 2. In fact, that's kind of how they advertised season 2. They were like, "This is the bounty hunter season," and so that's to look forward to when we hit season 2.
We do get the fun discussion.
We get the let's talk about what we get. We get the introduction of Cad Bane.
Yes.
So this is the first time Cad Bane ever hit screens. So Cad Bane introduction.
I forgot how like oddly polite he is during the whole thing.
Well, yeah, because he's that cowboy. He's that gentleman cowboy, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing
I
he's
know
doing.
I watched this last night, but I do. Sorry to bother you, Chancellor, but I've taken control of the east wing of your Senate building, and the occupants are now my hostages.
So,
like he's gonna ask him, like, would you like a large pizza?
yeah. So he's got he's like the gentleman cowboy bounty hunter, right? That's kind of his thing.
Alternatively, I can ice these senators right now.
But he's also very cold
yeah,
at the same time.
like the first guy just tries to walk out and he just shoots him.
Yep, just shoots him in the back.
Like, so now that we're done,
Now that you know what happens if you don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, look, I was talking still. This guy interrupted me.
yeah.
We also get Aura Singh,
Mm-hmm.
and she's also very cold.
Yeah. I can see why Bane brought her in for this one.
Yeah, get an IG model, not 88 proper.
Anakin beats him with a gun.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an episode where this is the premise of Hostage Crisis is Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Star Wars, Die Hard in Star Wars.
Mhm.
Okay. Anakin is sneaking through like ventilation shafts with no lightsaber because he gave it to Padme because he's basically proven to her, hey, I love and trust you so much that I'm gonna give you my weapon. What a day to choose to do that lesson.
Any other day would have been better, but not today.
And this is another episode where we're gonna get some out of chronological order stuff later. Season 3, we get some episodes that take place before and then after. Because the whole thing of this episode is they're trying to break Zero out of prison.
They succeed.
And they succeed, yeah, because they basically are like, "Hey, I got these these hostages, these senators. If you want them free, gonna have to work with me." And unfortunately, Anakin comes close to saving everybody, but not. He just does not have enough.
Yep. He got 9 out of 10.
And so I'm looking at the ratings for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it did really well. This is the episode that kind of took the show off. 3.3 million viewers, according to USA Today,
Woo!
when it aired. Which was the highest rating since the show premiered. So, wow. Wow. I can see why, because this episode it was close to being, my favorite, but
Yeah.
That's it for season 1.
It's good.
We did our least favorite, we did our favorite, and then we kind of just talked about all the episodes anyways.
I'm still of the opinion once you get past episode 9, that's when it kicks up.
Yeah. I give this a 7. It's a strong 7, though.
You know, I'm tempted to give it 2 ratings, but overall as a whole, I'll give it an 8.
I can see that. Where you gonna give like the first half like a 7
I'm
and
just gonna give the first half a 6 and the last half a 9.
dang. So you just met the happy medium.
Yeah.
You aggregated your score. Yeah, I mean I give it a strong 7 because I think it's the weakest of the seasons,
Yeah.
but also
It's also the first one. So.
It's also the first. I've never heard anybody ever, when it comes to a multi-season show, go, the first season was really my favorite. I've never heard that. And so I'm interested to see where we go from here. But that's not what we're doing next week.
No, what are we doing?
Well, first, before we reveal that, I do want to thank everybody for watching today's episode of Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I've been your host, Caleb. Be sure to like, comment, follow, subscribe to us. You can find us at Escape Reality Films on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. You can also show your support for us by joining our Patreon, which is at Escape Reality Films. Shout out to Jennifer Brantley.
Yeah.
There you can watch our YouTube content before it's publicly available. Also be sure to check out our Discord, which is also linked wherever you are watching, so you can become a part of our community. You can also find me on Twitter at EscapeReality94 and Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Caleb.Lockwood. I also want to go ahead and give a shout out to our friend Pixie, who had joined us in the chat and was hanging out, and is probably still listening in and just kind of chilling. So she is awesome. She is also a streamer. She's a variety streamer. She does different type of games, a lot of cozy games, but also sometimes lately she's been doing some Once Human though as well.
If I add the stuff to run it, it looks like a game that I would try.
So if you're on Twitch, that's her. Follow her. She's awesome. One of our awesome friends on the channel. Seth, though, speaking of friends of the channel,
You can catch some friends of ours over at the Steam_Dungeon on YouTube from 5 to 7 Central Standard Time on Sundays at Trials of Naboo. I don't know what's going on. They just got their rewards from a dungeon. I have no idea. Go check them out. It's been a while. I haven't kept up with it.
Did I throw you off by also saying
You
friends?
slipped me up, a little bit. They are our friends, though, and we do care for them.
No, I just noticed it was the word that stumbled you when I said that, and you were like about to say it, and you're like, wait. But yeah, go check them out. They're awesome, especially if you like D&D content, which is stuff that we do here on the channel as well. So if you like that stuff, if you like D&D, you like some fun gameplay and storytelling, go check them out. They're awesome. But yeah, once again, thank you all for watching. Join us next week as we finally talk about The Acolyte, which is, I know, it's so first season's over, so I know people are waiting on that. Usually we go the next week after a show ends. So I know a lot of people are already talking about big stuff, and I hope you've been avoiding the big stuff.
I've been avoiding as much as I can.
Because he has not watched it yet, so this will be his watch during the week. So
this is one of the upsides to me not having a lot of social media.
All right, well, I've spoken.
Y'all be safe out there.